and a mic.
Hosted by four-time Emmy-nominated producer
Frank Pace and retired New York City firefighter, 9/11 first responder, and Vietnam vet, Billy O'Connor.
My brother.
Frankie, my brother. How the hell are you, pal? How you
Good
doing?
today. I'm good today. Who's our guest?
I think me and you were the guests, I think, for
Really?
today. Yeah, we're going to have a little conversation for the hell of it.
Good.
We're going to try and put 140 years of mixed experience to some good.
You sold us short 145.
145. Oh, Jesus Christ. And they flying by fast, huh?
Boy, that's for sure. That's for sure.
I'm going to start you off.
Okay.
I'm going to start you off. We grew up in the early 50s, right? I mean, pretty much. So what do you remember the cheapest price buying a slice of pizza?
I think it was 25 cents. It may have been 15 cents.
I remember 15.
It may have been 15 cents and it rose to 25 cents. But today, piece of pizza, I was at a golf tournament within the last 2 months or so, and I went to get a piece of pizza. Cost $3.50. Slice of pizza was $3.50.
I remember there was a place in the Bronx, Brefford Chop House. So 75 cents for a pie.
Yeah, a pizza, a pie was $1.
75, 15 cents. Getting on a bus, 15 cents.
Yeah.
You?
Well, we just went out to lunch, and I paid $70 for lunch.
Holy, was that
$70?
Yeah, it was $70. But
that was $70?
Holy crap.
Yeah, but that's my point. It was $70 for lunch.
Two sandwiches.
I think my father would have shit.
Oh, yeah.
If he paid more than $7 for the lunch I just paid $70 for. First of all, my father wouldn't have paid $7 for lunch anyway. I don't think I ever went out to dinner until I was 14 years old.
Yeah, I'm sure. I'm dead sure of that.
And if we ever had a pizza in the house it would be only on a Sunday, and it would be once in a blue moon because a pizza cost $1.25, and my father wasn't going to spend $1.25 for pizza.
Oh, there's no doubt. But yeah, my old man would never have gone for that. I remember with our rent, we lived in a 5-story walk-up in the Bronx. The rent was $80 a month.
And you were overpaying.
$80 a month. I mean, and I'm a sport, Frank. I'm not I don't count pennies. I mean, I don't really give a shit. I know I'm going to die broke. It's just stage of the game. I'm not going to worry about it. I don't deny myself anything. If I want to get on a plane, I get on a plane.
Right.
I go whatever I want to do. Fortunately, I don't have expensive taste. But the other day, I was in a supermarket, and I'm checking out, and I just went in for one item. I wanted to get grapes. Believe it or not, I like grapes with cheese in the morning. I went to get grapes, and it was $13.95 for grapes. I looked at the woman. I said, $13.95 for grapes? Do I eat them, or do I chop them up and snort them? I mean, what do I do with that? I mean, I thought I broke a window. $13.95? I mean,
well, it's like a banana. I got charged $2 for a banana last week. $2. I went to the grocery store. There was 60 cents. That's a markup. From 60 cents to $2?
I know guys in the bar business today's day, and one guy in Puerto Rico especially, he's in, the hell's the name? Rincon, Puerto Rico. He's got a big bar in Rincon. And I went down there to do comedy. He told me his biggest seller, he makes the most money in markup, water. It's like liquid gold. He buys it for 15 cents and sells it for $3 a bottle.
Well, you were in the bar business.
Yeah, but we never sold water. I mean, in my day,
You sold Perrier.
Perrier on tap. That's when all the kids used to come in. Hey, you got Perrier? Oh, yeah. There you go, on tap. Live, $3.
That had so you sold it for $3. You probably had...
Cost me about 3 cents.
3 cents, and 2 of it was for the lime.
Yeah. If I could get everybody to drink Perrier, I'd be a rich man today.
No, you wouldn't. You would have gambled or snorted it away. You would have gambled or snorted it away.
Yeah.
I don't think water prices are any different than they were.
Sure they are. Nobody ever sold bottled water. I mean, we didn't have that.
Go ahead.
I would guess when they first came out with the concept of bottled water, I said, that's the stupidest thing I ever heard of. It's like non-alcoholic beer. Who the hell's going to drink non-alcoholic beer? I do now.
Do you?
Yeah. Occasionally, if I feel like a beer, I'll get a non-alcoholic beer.
Have you had Heineken Zero?
No, but I like that Uh,
Amstel Light,
no, Amstel.
Amstel Zero, whatever it is.
No, I don't drink any. And the O'Doul's is the worst of all. The difference between O'Doul's and a piss is about 5 minutes. I like the foreign ones. What is it? Klaustizer is really good.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, for non-alcoholic, it tastes like beer. Anything that tastes like beer. Beck's makes a pretty good one too. But anyway, I mean, I thought that was the stupidest thing I ever heard. Non-alcoholic bottled water. Really? Did you think that would sell? I mean, coming from New York, you got water out of the tap, and it was the best water you could have. It was great water.
Yeah, sure.
No, it was good water. I would.
Rust Belt.
No, that's the rumor. Whether that's true or not, that bagels and pizza taste good in New York because the dough is made out of our water. But I know for a fact there's at least 4 or 5 purifiers. That water's coming from upstate, up by Kensico.
Yeah, aerators. Yeah, sure.
And then coming down and be filtered.
Yep.
You should go to Louisiana. Try and drink the water out of the tap in Louisiana.
The water in New Orleans is excellent. It's
Get
the
out of
best
town,
water
not
I've
out of
ever
the tap.
had.
Out of the tap?
Yep. So Boston #1, New Orleans #2.
Get out of here. Really? I thought the water tasted like oil. I mean, it was grainy. Water up by me in Pine Mountain Club, up where I am. The water's terrible. I gotta use bottled water. I can't drink the water. But anyway, regardless of the water, the price.
It's better than the water is in Flint, Michigan.
Oh yeah, that's without a doubt. Yeah, but a lot of things have changed since the 50s. I mean, the prices, of course. Real estate, insane. I mean,
it is. Real estate is insane.
And people have told me all my life, the way to make money in real estate is never sell it.
Well, you're selling it now, but now's a bad time to sell because prices are still going up every place. I mean,
yeah, you were just talking about that those house prices in Jacksonville.
Yeah, I saw an article today that said Duval County, which is the city of Jacksonville, is in Duval County. Real estate prices are going through the roof. And they showed a $300,000 house that would cost $1 million in California, in Los Angeles. A $300,000 house. Friends of mine just bought a multi-million-dollar house on the beach in Jacksonville that would have cost $25 million.
Yeah, you couldn't buy it here. Location.
Well, it's just it's just location, but it's still on the water.
Yeah,
they're still on the beach.
20 years ago when I was in Florida, I remember St. Augustine. I thought the beaches were just pristine, gorgeous in St. Augustine. And you could still buy a house on the water for about $350,000, $400,000. I don't think now, but.
Well, how long ago was that?
20 years ago.
Yeah, 20 years ago is about right. 300,000 would have done it.
What would you say, Derek?
I was just going to ask you, how many people do you know that have multi-million-dollar houses?
I know Frank.
Derek. I mean, everybody in Los Angeles has a $1 million house or less, except if you live in Pine Mountain Club, because then you've got the equivalent of $1 million house, but substantially less because you live on a frozen hill.
A frozen hill, eh?
Yeah.
Well, let you all think that it's a frozen hill. That's a good thing. This way I won't have too many neighbors.
I'm going to
take your word.
I'm going to get you for the rest of the year on being snowed in for that Kenny Anderson podcast we did.
80 degrees out there today. It's a beautiful day.
Yeah.
We're expecting like 7 inches of snow today.
Good.
Yeah, up in the mountains. I mean, that's kind of cool. It's like
that's what she said.
Sure.
I mean, you get snow and you can get in your car and drive an hour and a half and it be in warm weather. That's kind of cool, all about the elevation. But I mean, the things that were so different, like I asked you before while we were eating lunch, how old were you when you first got on a plane? You said 18.
18.
Me too. 18.
Almost 19, because it was Thanksgiving of my freshman year. And I had to fly home from Jacksonville, fly home to White Plains, New York from Jacksonville. And I got on my first National Airlines, which is no longer in business.
National, I remember them.
National Airlines. It was like a 2.5-hour flight home, and it was great.
Yeah, the first time I ever got one was on my way to basic training, 18 years old. I mean, it just didn't do it. And I guess a lot of people, I don't know who watches our podcast, what age they are, but if they're 20 years or 30 years younger than we are, then there's no way they remember that it used to take 12 hours to go from New York to California by plane. before jet flights came in.
It used to take a lot longer than that.
Really?
Well, I would imagine.
Well, it was 12 hours. I mean, to go to Europe.
How long did it take how long did it take by covered wagon?
Yeah, well, if you want to go back that far, yeah. But people never went into a plane. They never went to a ball game unless they were dressed. It was a special occasion. Church, Sunday, was a big deal. People, not big deal, but people dressed up to go anywhere. On Sunday, it was like you almost had to put on a suit on Sunday.
Yeah, I travel with Rod Carew quite a lot. And you should hear him rail against people in shorts and flip-flops getting on an airplane because he's very orderly and pristine, and he still respects air flight. But man, you should hear him rail against those people.
How many you go to the bathroom and you come back, everybody's in bare feet. They got their feet stuck here and there, and and everybody's either wearing sweatpants, shorts. Some people are wearing pajamas.
Yeah, I've got a photo. I'll have to get it for Derek of Jock Plant in goal for the Rangers, and it's sort of taken from center ice, and you see him crouched down and waiting for a shot, and behind him, everybody's very white and very well dressed in top hats and coats and ties, but even no blacks and no women, all very, very white, very sterile, very. In a lot of ways, it's a fascinating photo, but it's a scary photo as well. That's why everybody says, I wish we could go back to the old days. I wouldn't want to go back to those old days forever.
Well, even that photo that you showed of me behind Roger Maris in 1961, you look at the rest of the people in that photograph. All the hats, no man went out. He wasn't dressed until he put on one of those fedoras,
Yeah.
I mean, that was standard procedure.
Yeah.
He wouldn't consider himself dressed unless that hat went on,
Like that hat you have on now.
No, not like this one. This is a newsy hat.
Yeah.
Hey, get in here. Hey, what happened to Hindenburg? The Hindenburg disaster.
That's a Leo Gorcey Hunts Hall hat. Those are the dead end kids, Derek.
The dead end kids, Derek. You don't remember the dead end kids, do you?
I definitely do not.
Oh, what is that?
Here we go.
That's it. That's the
John
photo.
Plant. There it is. Yeah, look at that. Holy mackerel.
Well, they don't all have hats on.
Yeah,
But,
they're all dressed up.
They're all
mostly.
dressed up, ties, shirts, and the actual original photo's got a wider perspective to it. But that's it.
Well, that's not really fair when you say there's no blacks. It's a hockey game.
Well,
if it was a basketball game, you might see more blacks or a fight,
Could I see a little bit more of that photo?
What year is this?
Oh, that's
Hold on.
well, yeah. That's the photo. You see.
Let me see if I can.
Well, it doesn't make any difference.
It's okay. It's all right.
Yeah. Well, we just don't want to. People watch people. The sound is people clicking off their podcasts while we search for the photos.
You can tell them what we're looking at.
Yeah, we could. Yeah, so that's the photo. That's the photo. It saves me having to go pull it down off of the wall. But Jacques Plant was in goal and he didn't have a mask on, so it was probably early '60s.
Yeah, you would. I think about of course the difference. And 70 years. I mean, said 73, soon to be 74.
By the way, everybody in that picture is probably dead now.
Oh, without a doubt. Without a doubt.
Michael Jacobs used to say on Girl Meets World, 100 years, all new people. That's
fair enough.
That gives him some perspective. 100 years, all new people, for the most part, 99.9%.
So the rough numbers, let's say I was born in 1950. I was born in 48, but let's say 50 to 2020, 70 years. So from 1950, if I was born in 1950, 70 years was 1880.
Yeah.
When you think 1880 to 1950, 1880 sounds like covered wagon, but 70 years
even when I was 10 years old, Babe Ruth had been dead for only 12 years. When I thought of Babe Ruth, I would thought of Babe Ruth as being a mythical figure of the past, and it was only 12 years prior from when I was 10 years old.
Yeah,
It's really funny. I mean, Artis Gilmore and the Jacksonville team were talking. We're in mid or late final basketball finals. Artis Gilmore and Jacksonville University team went to the NCAA finals 52 fucking years ago. That's incredible to me. That's 52 fucking years. Derek, what year were you born?
70.
That's 52 fucking
I
years.
had already been back from Asia at 70, yeah. And look at
That's crazy how much. I mean, Derek is sprouted up from a young pup, and now he's moving toward the latter part of his life.
well, the world is so much smaller now. I mean, because of the internet. I guess not just because of the internet, because of mass communication and television and everything. I mean, growing up, television for us was 3 channels. That was it. NBC,
Well,
ABC, and CBS.
It wasn't 3 channels.
Yeah.
You also got Channel 5. You got Channel 9. You got
Those
Channel
were local, 5, 9, and 11.
But they still count as.
Yeah, they were local, 5, 9, and 11.
They
And they all went off at what, 1 o'clock in the morning?
Are you accusing Billy of hyperbole?
Who, me?
No, I'm accusing him of inaccuracy.
Fair enough. So, but they all went off at 1 o'clock in the morning.
They all did.
Now, I mean,
11 o'clock, some of them. You get the Indian head signal on
Oh, I
TV.
got a question. I wonder, we don't know the answer to this, I suppose. Maybe you do. What do you think the difference in revenue was from when a station shut off at midnight or 11 o'clock versus staying on all night?
Probably not significant.
Really?
Probably
Just because no viewership?
no viewership.
Yeah.
I mean, the limited amount of televisions that you had in the 60s or in the 50s. Hell, the first Super Bowl game was 1966. I went up to my grandparents to watch it in color. Our house only had one black and white TV, so I didn't want to watch the first Super Bowl game in color. Yeah, so
one black and white TV, one phone too.
Oh yeah, for sure.
One phone, and it was in the hallway next to probably a telephone stand, and when that thing rang, I think that's why we're so addicted today that when a phone goes off or you get a ding, you have a tendency to stop in the middle of a conversation and look at it because you figure it's important. Of course, 99 times out of 100 now, it's not important.
Spam.
But when the phone rang in your house,
it was a big deal.
It was an event, it was like somebody.
And do you remember party lines?
Boy, that's really going back. Now that's like, I imagine the Midwest and all that stuff had that. But
Probably
when I was a kid
in the
growing up,
mid-50s. In the mid-50s in the Midwest, sure, you had party lines. You had 3 or 4 people on the lines at once.
Speaking of party, I was around before Playboy came out. I think Playboy came out in '57, I think.
Yeah.
And when I was a kid, I mean, you were just starting to find out about yourself, exploring your body, abusing yourself, or whatever you want to call it. And when Playboy came out, it was a big deal. He got that picture of Marilyn Monroe, was the first one on the cover, and that was like I can't believe it. I mean, before that, it was National Geographic. Look,
yeah, well,
tits in Indonesia. Holy shit, look at this.
Yeah, we used to go scavenge behind Gambino's gas station. There was a dump. On the way to school, on the way to and from school, there was a dump behind Gambino's. And everybody dumped their garbage there. We used to go looking for National Geographics, and if we hit the jackpot, we'd find a Playboy. And
big deal.
Big deal. And
that'd be 8 kids gathered around it.
And now Playboy has no nude women in it at all.
Oh, I didn't even know that.
Nope, 0. There are no nude women.
Is it Christy Hefner that runs the operation down
I
his
don't know.
daughter?
I don't think so anymore. I think it's been sold to a conglomerate. But they just.
But you know what? Before National Geographic, I have no way of knowing, but I'm willing to bet in the 30s and 40s, you had kids pounding their pud to Sears catalogs. Look, the underwear section of the Sears catalogs.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, I'm sure they're going to find something. Your imagination's going to work.
But I attribute that, the Playboy no longer showing tits and ass, to the porn industry.
Yeah, the porn industry. God almighty. I mean, when we were kids, I mean, if you saw a porn movie, which we didn't see too often, but it'd be a reel-to-reel job, and there'd be like guys with the with the boxer shorts and black socks.
Black socks.
I always remember they had the black socks and the black lines across their eyes, so you didn't know who they were, just in case it was your Uncle George or something, you know. And the women looked like manatees. I mean, they weren't exactly, you know, they weren't the most desirable women. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, well, my oldest friend, Walter Schrank, who I've known since I was probably 4 years old, he got his hands on a reel-to-reel porn movie when we were about 16 years old. It was called Death of a Dick.
I bet you the women had a lot to do with it. They were the assassins.
I believe they had a lot to do with that.
Whoa.
Derek, can you look up
Death of a Dick.
Death of a Dick on the internet?
Now they have porn awards.
But before we get into porn awards, that was the thing. The guys were in long black knee socks, probably wingtip shoes.
Black socks for sure. I don't remember the shoes, but definitely black socks.
Black socks, and it was grainy, and we were so disappointed with Death of a Dick. But
how could that be a bad movie, Frank? Death of a Dick.
I know, but it was
you thought it was about a PI, right? A private investigator.
I think it was so grainy. There was grainy and so much hair between the male and the female that
difficult to figure out which is which, the male or the female.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but I don't remember any porn movies back then. But I mean, I know they were like really, really bad, and you know, and most of the time I guess they were shot in somebody's basement or something.
Oh,
you know?
Sure. Now they're shot in the San Fernando Valley.
Amazing, and huge money.
Well, I wouldn't say huge money.
No, I would think it'd be big money.
I would say $50,000 is a big shoot.
Oh, you're
really?
talking about the budget?
Oh, you mean the budget for the movie itself?
Yeah,
industry.
I'm talking about the porn stars themselves.
Oh,
I think they make tons of money. No,
I got a stat here. In 2017 alone, Pornhub got 28.5 billion visits. That's almost 1,000 visits a second, or 78 million visits a day, way more than the population of the entire United Kingdom. That number has since jumped to 35.5 billion sites in 2018 and 42 billion site visits since 2019.
now you think majority of those are kids under 18 or just
I don't know.
probably not. I mean, I don't know.
Probably not.
Republicans?
Well,
I don't know. Guys that ain't getting laid is what I'm trying to say.
There's a number here that's so big, I don't even know what it is. It says also more than 5, 824, 699, 200 hours of porn were watched on the site in just 2019. That's equal to almost 665 centuries of content consumed in 1 year on one porn site only. And you know what the top hits were? Lesbian, teen, stepmom, mom, and stepsister have all topped the charts as some of the most searched terms on the site for the last 6 years.
I would imagine a lot of couples are watching that too as well. But lesbians doesn't, I don't know why lesbians, why stepdaughters.
Well, it doesn't mean lesbians. It means guys like watching women on women, or women like watching men on men. That's what lesbian means.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, I don't know, but I don't get the whole fascination with my stepdaughter did this and my stepfather did this. And I don't know why that's all about. I thought teen would be a big.
Teen
was number 2.
Number 2.
Teen's number 2.
Yeah, I thought that would be, but the other one surprised me.
Yeah, I can't find that movie.
Death of a Dick? You can't find Death of a Dick?
Well, there's a
what kind of a computer you got over there, for Christ's sake?
All I know is I got a bunch of images on my computer.
Don't they have? I think Clark Gable was at the opening in Atlanta when they did that. We're all glad to see Death of a Dick, and I'm here to watch it just as well as you are.
By the way, I read someplace that the name Richard or Dick is waning in popularity.
I wonder why.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, it was like Dick Van Dyke. Never again will be a Dick Van Dyke.
It's waning in popularity.
Waning in popularity.
Yeah. We had a guy in the firehouse. His name was Richard. He had the balls to tell us, but don't I just like to be called Dick. For the next 30 years, we called him Cock. Every time, hey, Cock is working. Is Cock working today? Yeah, Cock's working. Yeah, I of course, Dick. That's Richard Dick. But yeah, so they get these awards now. I think we should do that, Frank. We should go to Las Vegas, go to the Porn Awards, just to hear the speeches. I'd like to hear the speeches.
Those are the AVN awards. What would you say the speech would be? What are some of the categories that you would like to say?
I'd like to talk.
Well,
I want to thank my mother and father for bringing me to the world. That's my daughter up there. She won best anal. You know, like, what are you, kid?
I think they do. I think some winners have their parents in the audience.
I would imagine. I mean, this is their big moment. They wanted to get into acting. And yeah, I want to thank my parents for bringing me into the world. And I want to thank the guy in 16B for having a 14-inch prick and showing me the joys of anal. I mean, what do you say when you win an award like that?
They wanted to get into acting in the worst way. And they did. In the worst way, and they did.
And they went in the worst way. Yeah, exactly. I want to get into acting in the worst way.
Those are the AVN Awards, and the AVN Awards do big numbers on pay TV.
You know, but that
HBO.
shit, I'm sure that shit went on in the 30s, the 40s, the 50s, but it was all clandestine, right? I mean, all of that shit went on. I mean, I've read, besides Marlene Dietrich, Claudette Colbert, so many big actresses, a lot of them were lesbians. Or, you know, but that shit couldn't come out. It was a death knell if you were an actor in them days to have any.
Here we are. Excuse me?
Oh, I think he's playing an award. Are you playing a thank you from one of the award winners? I don't want to miss anything, Frank.
I think we've been missing stuff for a long time.
I really don't want to miss anything. It's like that famous story about a guy who says, you know, so I was doing the reverse cowboy style, and the guy says, wait, what's all that? You know, well, it's just a sexual position. The guy says, holy mackerel. He says, you know, how many sexual positions do you know? He says, I know about 140. He says, 140? He says, I only know one. He says, what's that? He says, missionary style. The guy says, 141. But everything was different, especially dressing up. People went to church, they dressed up. It was you don't see anybody going in sweatpants or some shit like that. Now it's, no matter where you go, it's is it better or is it worse? I don't think it really matters.
I don't think so either.
Yeah, I mean, we were talking before about cruises. You know, a lot of jokes about people who go into Walmart, the way they're dressed in Walmart. That's the way they go on a plane now. It's the same way they go on a cruise. It's no big deal. It's comfortable. I want to be comfortable.
Yeah.
Wait, the question is it better or worse? So you don't think it matters if people dress up or not?
It doesn't matter. It doesn't really matter to me. Does it matter to you?
Well, it's just an indication that
sloppiness.
No, I don't think so. It's comfort. Everybody wants to be comfortable in their lives. And in that photo of the Rangers game, everybody was dressed, but they weren't comfortable. They would rather have been in sweatpants and T-shirts, I believe.
Yeah, but again, it's what everybody else is wearing, right? Isn't that what dictates what happens?
I don't know. I wear whichever clean.
Didn't you have a rule back in the day that you wanted your people to have collared shirts?
I was just thinking about this yesterday.
Yeah. If
I was still working today on the show, I would still have that rule. I would still have collared shirts and no shorts. Because, and I'll tell you why I did that. Because you might meet the president of the studio one time if you're a kid.
Right.
And do you want that president of the studio's impression of you to be shorts and a T-shirt? I think not.
Got it.
I want this.
So that answers Billy's question.
Well, you can only make first impression one time. So the first impression has to be on the mic. Well, you talked about John Wooden. Didn't John Wooden want his players dressed? Or?
No, he wanted them dressed properly.
No facial hair?
No facial hair. Learning to tie
Didn't the Yankees always make guys wear suit and tie at one time?
Well, they still have a no facial hair policy.
Who? The Yankees?
Who are we talking about? Yeah, the Yankees.
The Yankees? I didn't know that.
Well, see that? You learn something every day. And that goes back to George Steinbrenner. Because George Steinbrenner felt that the Yankees stood for something. Yankees were a paragon. I wonder if the Dodgers The Dodgers probably. Dodgers have facial hair, of course, but the Yankees still don't have facial hair.
Oh. I remember way back when, before the AFL, as we talk about Lamar's gamble, all the football players all had crew cuts, ties, suits. When they traveled, everything else. Of course, Namath come in with the long hair, the fur coats. The AFL was totally, sideburns. Like anything goes. And it was a big difference. It was a change in mores, mores,
Mores.
like an eel.
Like an eel.
So it was a change in mores. I mean, and it resonated with young people.
I believe the NBA sort of instituted you have to wear a suit and tie when you fly rule about 15 years ago. That lasted probably about less than 6 months because nobody wanted it.
Yeah, and my ex-girlfriend told me one day my idea of dressing up is wearing a shirt without a logo. But I just yeah, that was my idea of dressing up. But you notice when you go to a game nowadays, everybody's got like hockey with the guy's name behind it, or a basketball player.
Yeah, what's with guys, grown men
Never.
wearing
I don't get
uniforms
that.
with people's names on the back?
Yeah,
I mean, if you get out once you're out of high school, enough with idol worship already.
yeah, I don't get that either.
But I will say that a cap is cool.
The bolder you get, the cooler it gets.
A jersey's sort of cool up until a certain age, but the combination of a jersey and a cap, that's a New York cab driver.
Yeah, exactly.
You can't wear a cap and a jersey at the same time.
I had to check and make sure I didn't have my jersey on there. I know I got the cap. Yeah, I mean,
you have a logo on?
No logo today. I'm dressed. I'm dressed to the nines,
Wow.
Frank. I'm doing a show, Frank.
I don't believe
I'm doing a show here, Frank.
I don't believe I. Oh,
Yeah, you got a logo.
Oh, Morrison's Cafeteria. Morrison's
You
Cafeteria.
looking for a job?
That means I got a shirt from a guy by the name of Rand in Lexington, Kentucky, at a golf tournament. I was in his group at the Children's Charity Classic.
Oh, yeah.
So this is about 10 years old, but clean
And free.
and free.
It was a Frio.
Perfect.
Frio, huge nowadays. Do you find yourself getting tighter as you get older?
No.
No, not at all.
I
Derek, how about you?
Well,
Tighter.
Cheaper, tighter.
No, never been cheap.
No, huh?
he cut me off in mid phrase.
Yeah.
Mid-French.
I was just, he said, I was starting to explain why I still struggle with that, but you heard.
Yeah, but we'd love to hear. Let's
Please,
talk
go
about
back,
your
Frank. Switch to the
your
third man.
possible cheapness.
No, it's not cheapness at all. It's frugality.
Oh, all right.
But you have to remember that I was raised in a house that was, 5 people.
Yeah.
And my father was frugal. My father was the original get off my lawn.
Oh,
Oh yeah.
so this is the guy. This is the guy that I see in the that I saw in the lunch at lunch today.
No.
Yes.
Oh, what do you mean?
Yeah, the guy that's ready to fisticuffs at any moment.
Yeah, but that was because of you, because I had to buy you lunch. And it cost $70.
Yeah, you're right. That's crazy.
Well,
I can't believe that was $70. That's wild.
but we had tater tots. We had and I also bought a 4th lunch from her.
Oh, true.
But in defense of your father, he came out of the depression.
He came out of the depression.
And that's,
Yeah.
That's the whole deal. It's depression, kids. Do you know, and most people don't know this, but when World War II broke out, the United States refused almost 25% of the applicants from the United States because they were all undernourished, because they were all children with depression. Think about it. 1929 is the depression, 1945, 44 was the war. These kids looking to get into the war, a lot of them were undernourished because of the depression. They refused almost 25% of the applicants. So that, I've often talked to you guys about, I don't know if I said it on the show, I'm sure I did, but when I was always in the saloon at 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, look around for the oldest guy, looking for somebody to talk to, and I'd ask inevitably, whether I was in Europe or in the United States, I'd say, what was the worst time of your life? 82 years old, I'm 22. So we're talking 60 years ago. I'm sorry, 50 years ago. What was the worst time of your life? To a man, if I was in the United States, they'd say the depression, the depression, the depression. If I was in Europe, World War II, World War II, World War II. Because we weren't affected by it, you know.
What do you think the kids would say now? Or what do you think?
COVID, I would think.
Really?
I would think so. I mean, if you're young, 18, 19, imagine being 17 years old and spent the last 2 years at home. I would think. I don't know.
I don't know. I thought it might be bombing of the World Trade Center.
But that didn't affect them directly unless,
Well,
I mean, 6 degrees of separation, yeah.
The new generation would actually say Trump over COVID
Really?
for sure.
New
Yeah.
generation, define new generation.
Like
I mean,
kids my daughter's age, you know, like early 20s. That was really an impression for them.
yeah, but
COVID.
I think you're talking about your daughter, who is upwardly mobile, very bright. I don't think that people in less. I want to try to say the right words.
I get what you're saying. Yes,
People
we
of lower classes, regardless of their status, regardless of their.
Yeah, and you're right, because even when I said that, I was thinking about sort of, you know, for lack of a better word, upper class. Yeah, upper.
Yeah.
but if I was 18 years old and I was confined for 2 years,
I don't think they know any different.
I don't know. I think that'd have to be
I mean, I think
horrible thing.
later. The reason why I say this is because there's so many kids in this current generation that are okay with being confined, okay with wearing masks, okay with all of the mandates that are placed upon the country, that I don't think they know the difference yet until they've actually had some something to contrast that particular freedom or lack of freedom with.
But kids who know the difference are kids who had to put off weddings.
Right. True.
Kids
Yeah.
who had to put off who graduated from college with nobody to see them. Kids who graduated from high school with no ceremony.
Yeah.
All of those kids
Yeah.
were
No prom.
no proms. All of those kids were adversely affected by COVID.
Do you think that because of 21st century, because of the internet and everything else, that some of these kids are isolated and don't even want to come out of their room? I mean, because they're so accustomed to being isolated.
Yeah, but they would have been isolated in their rooms anyway. If
Yeah.
they didn't want to come out of their rooms, they were already preconditioned to be in their rooms in the first place. They probably have been in their rooms since they were 11, and the only time they would come out to shoot up a school or something.
My son is 36 years old, and he texts me. When he texts me, it drives me fucking crazy. I can't stand it. I told him, don't text me. You know, like it's a yes or no answer, text me. But if you want to have a conversation with me,
Call me.
yeah.
What does he text you? Dad, I hate you.
Dad, send money. What are you taking? Dad, I'm in a bit of a jam. Dad. I says, and then
How
thanks, TX, and I say no. I say no money, because no is shorter than yes. So I'll play the same game. No money.
But how could somebody have? You have 3 kids?
Yes.
How can anybody have 3 kids so diverse with 2 girls who are going through the moon and one guy who's a chip off the old block?
Yeah, that's exactly right. Alligators raise alligators is exactly
Yeah,
right.
but not female alligators.
No, the girls are doing great, and he's a good guy. He's a good kid.
He's a
just
great guy.
He's a good kid. He's a good guy. He's just, he has
He's
his
your
father's
son.
way at 36. That's the deal. I mean, but then again, I bet you, I wonder what the average age is right now that kids move out from their parents, from underneath the umbrella. I mean, when I was 18, I couldn't wait to get out the door. I'm sure you felt the same way.
There's 2 different opinions on it. I read facts that say more and more 20 years old, or 25 to 35 years old are moving back in with their parents. But then again, I look at people who have been successful, and there are more and more 25 to 30 years old successful now in ways that I could never even conceive them being in their entire life.
But a lot of apparently it's very difficult to have your own apartment at 31 or 30. I mean, These kids moved back in with their parents. I'll give you a funny story. I had a lieutenant, Italian guy, Mario DeSetta, Lord have mercy on him. He died recently. Mario, great guy. He had 4 daughters. He says, I love coming to work. I love the firehouse. As I come into the firehouse, he goes, I got 4 daughters and my wife, breaking my chops all the time when I go home. As I come into the firehouse, it's great. So what happens? My daughter gets married. I go, all right, that's 1 out the door. He goes, she has a little girl. Her husband leaves and she moves back in. He goes, no, I got 5 girls. He goes, but it's not uncommon now for a kid 33, 34 to be living at home.
I think that's wrong.
I think it's terrible.
I think those kids are not going to ever make it because, between the ages of 22 and 40, you have to work at being what you be. From the ages of 40 to 60, you have to be it.
Hone your skills.
And you have to hone your skills from the ages of 22 to 40. From the age of 40 on, you better be doing it because at the age of 50, they're going to start phasing you out for a younger model. So anybody who wastes time living at home between their 20s and their 30s is not going to make it. I just don't think they're going to make it because the younger people that are being aggressive, and there's more and more of them out there every day, they're going to take up the few spots that there are to be successful.
Yeah, you got to go out. I mean, look, you got to jump in the water.
I mean, Derek should be talking about this because he's got firsthand experience with his 2 kids. But
both of my kids, well, my daughter is actually back at home, but not because she has to, because she wants to. She just got a job. She's working remotely, so I think that's good. My son's moved out since the day he left for college, so he's never
yeah,
come
once
back, which is
18,
great.
he went to college, and then he never came back.
Yeah.
and by the way, I would have never dreamed of living back with my parents.
Me either.
I would never. I mean, I loved them, but I never would dream of going. I got as far from the time I was 18. I went to Florida. I went to college in Florida, and upon graduation, I moved to California immediately.
You had it never even crossed your mind to move back.
Absolutely.
Me either.
Absolutely.
When I went to 18, I went into the service to get away from that whole environment. Not that, I mean, I love my mother and father and everything, but I don't want to live under the auspices of him, or anybody else. Like the idea of living at home. I mean, and you know what? I don't care how old the kid is. He's a little nervous about stepping out there. You're not going to starve. I don't care if you're on the street. If you're homeless, you'll find a way to eat. You're not going to starve.
Yeah.
Period.
I mean, I would have lived with 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 people before I moved into the house.
Without a doubt. I couldn't agree with you more. If you want to, you got to jump in the water. Life is, it's a series of ups and downs. You got to jump in the water. You got to swim. This sheltering thing is complete bullshit. Shelter a kid. For what? From life?
Yeah.
Crazy stuff. But
I haven't found any conclusive data on kids moving out. So it says 31% of millennials move out by age 27, I think. But there's a bunch of different.
Yeah, but they're moving
studies.
out. They're moving out because they can, not because they want to be a major success. Because if they're a major success, they're already well on their way to being a major success by the time they're 23 or 24.
I think there's a couple of different 2 sides to the coin. You were talking earlier at lunch about the fact that the housing prices are what they are, right? Mm-hmm. And that obviously translates to high rent as well. It's a lot more difficult for kids to move out of their homes for 2 reasons. First of all, obviously inflation. Even though we don't want to really talk about that.
Let me stop you.
Yeah.
Because are you talking to move out of your home, or are you talking about to move out of your home in New York, San Francisco, Chicago, or Los Angeles?
Well, those places are definitely way more difficult. Not so much Chicago, but certainly.
Because one of the things I'm going to say about COVID is COVID has made the world realize that there are a lot of people that can and should work remotely.
Right.
And if you find out that you can work remotely, you don't have to live in a major metropolitan market. You can live in Montana.
Arkansas.
You can live in Arkansas. You can live in Mississippi. You can live anywhere you want to live.
Don't live in Mississippi.
Well, don't live in.
And look how much money you're not paying to commute and to eat lunch and
Of course. So if you have a $150,000 job, which is a fine paying job, you can live way cheaper in Jacksonville, Florida, than you can live in Los Angeles.
Without a doubt. And then there's remote thing, this idea of working from home.
Yeah, you did it last week.
That's great that's great for the environment as well. I would think there's not as much gas burning, there's not as much transportation going on. There's not much this.
And who can afford gas? That's another offshoot of that. Gas is like ridiculous.
$6 a gallon most places in LA now. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I mean, it's a big difference. I remember when I was in college, I think I could find change in my cigarette holder and put gas in the car. You can't do that nowadays. Ashtray.
Yeah, how much was gas when you went to college?
I think it was. I feel like
$2.
No, it was less. It was less than $1.
There was a young kid, a comic I knew, a great joke he wrote. I thought it was the perfect joke because it was short, quick, and succinct to the point. He says, I went into 7-Eleven the other day, and I was trying to get some money for gas. I'm broke, and I got $1. And I said, can I have $1 on pump 4? And the guy said, where you going, pump 6?
Yeah. So when I was in college, we used to have gas wars. And the price for a gallon of regular gas was 29 cents. During the gas wars, they would drop all the way to 19 cents. And I remember when Gerald Ford was president, we had the gas shortage. I drove around for an hour to try to find gas for less than 35 cents a gallon.
Wow.
So that's...
I remember when Carter was president, they had the odds and evens on the plates. Remember that? You couldn't get gas because of all the shit going on in Iran and everything else. Of course, when we were firemen, they used to take care of us. You could go on an odd or even day if you flashed your badge,
Yeah, I thought it was more, but actually in 1988, it was $1.59 a gallon.
Yeah, but that's 30.
But everything's affected
That's
by
35 years ago.
Yeah.
Everything's
We talk
affected
about
by
1988 like it's yesterday, but that's 35 years ago.
No, and I can't register that. That's hard for me to register that. I think in the 60s. That's 60 years ago. The 60s. How is that possible? That doesn't...
Are you going to subtract backwards then and tell me?
Ancient history, yeah.
Tell me that turn of the century stuff again?
Hey, there's another thing. Look at the prices. Look at Namath. Big deal. Lamar's gamble, $400,000 for 4 years. Nobody's worth that. Nobody. I just watched the Cleveland Browns just signed
Foster, Deshaun Watson.
Deshaun Watson. You see what they're paying him?
Yeah, they're guaranteeing him like $269 million. And they don't even know that he's going to play this year because he's still got those 22 rape cases outstanding. I mean, he's
well, he might have been misconstrued there. 22 rape cases could be circumstantial. 22 rape cases.
Yeah,
you guys aren't qualified to talk about that.
No, we're not. Well, Billy maybe.
Rape. Let me tell you something.
Billy was maybe in some of those massage parlors.
Let me tell you about rape, Frank. I'm Irish. We don't even understand rape. We find it difficult enough to do it.
Don't even joke about it. Don't even joke about it.
Yeah, we don't understand.
But
you know what?
Don't even joke.
I'm just talking about the money. Watson's getting that kind of money, which
they don't even know he's going to play because the NFL hasn't. He's got off on the rape cases in court, but there's still civil suits pending.
Right.
And the NFL still has to bring forth whatever they want to do. They're for sure going to suspend him for at least 6 games, and they may suspend him for the year. So, I mean, what is Cleveland going to get out of that?
What are the details of these rape cases?
Massage parlor. They're all people in massage parlor.
How the hell could you rape somebody in a massage parlor?
Okay, and then the next question is, so how did he get off? If he,
I really shouldn't be talking about this, but I guess
we shouldn't talk about it.
No, because my guess is that all 22 plaintiffs had the same lawyer.
Okay.
Oh, a group lawsuit.
So they sued as one, and if you're the lawyer, I guess all you got to do is find reasonable doubt about 1, 2, or 3 of them.
Well,
And the
getting
case
away
that
from the
we're
rape
trying to-
aspect, let's get off that. But just
Yeah, let's
the
get off
fact
the subject completely.
that people lost their shit in 1969 when they paid Namath $400,000 for 4 years.
Well, they paid it in 1964.
Well, nobody's worth that kind
you
of
ought to
money.
you ought to read the book.
I ought to read the book that I wrote. Huh? Nobody's worth that kind of money. That's all you heard. Nobody's worth that kind of money. There's nobody in the world worth that kind of money.
But again, like TJ said a couple of weeks ago, he said, "What do we care if the owners are spending it? They must be making it. They're not going to go.
Exactly.
They're not going to go into debt. So the players should get whatever they can get. The owners should get whatever they get. And if I don't give a shit, I won't give a shit anymore."
Yeah, I'm with you. And there's no way that I'm going to go pay what we saw the Rams for a Super Bowl ticket. Parking was $5,000 or
No,
something.
yeah, well,
I mean, they're not going to get that from me. There's no way. So
No.
I mean, yeah, they should get what they get. Imagine how much the owners were making before they had to pay those kind of contracts. Of course, they weren't getting the.
well, now the Chelsea owner Abramovich, he the Russian oligarch, he had put $1.3 million into his football team, his soccer team, Chelsea, and now as being a Russian oligarch, the league took his franchise away.
Oh wow,
So
that's not the guy who got screwed the most, though. You want to hear the guy who got screwed the most last week? I thought this was terrific. Did you see the guy who paid $500,000 for Tom Brady's last touchdown pass?
yep,
The guy pays $500,000 for his last touchdown ball, and the following week Brady says, "I'm not retired."
so he's going to throw 23 to 30 more touchdown passes.
Can you
So-
imagine the guy who sold that? Who
Yeah.
sold that ball? He's jumping up and down. I
So
got $500,000 for that.
He can hold up his ball and he says, "I caught Tom Brady's 31st from the end
Wow.
touchdown pass."
Talk about getting screwed. But so they took the guy's franchise away in Russia. That's amazing.
Took the guy's franchise away. And as of last week, there were like 4 candidates to buy it. But they also took away his $150 million yacht. Now, what do you think a $150 million yacht costs in maintenance?
Oh, and maintenance.
Yeah, alone.
It's 10%. It's 10% of the value.
Okay, so
For
Is that
that's
right?
10% of the value per year.
that's per year. Now, I don't imagine he's got to pay any property taxes on it, but he's got to pay docking fees.
Yeah.
He's got to pay a crew.
Got to have a crew sailboat.
Well, all of those fees are all encompassing for that. So all of the fees, the crews, the crew, all of that is.
Yeah, but you don't have to
10%.
pass the hat for a guy who owns a $150 million yacht. You know what I mean? We're not going to have to run a racket for the guy. Nothing. Like, let's see if we can raise a few bucks for him. If you got a $150 million yacht,
Well, he doesn't have it anymore because somebody seized it,
yeah. Well, it's the amount of money.
and somebody seized his $1.3 billion soccer franchise.
That's. I don't know. Are we okay with that?
Are we okay with it?
Yeah.
We're fine with it.
Okay.
Are you okay with it?
No.
If you had to look back on your life, Derek, my life, and you besides stock market, of course, which is ridiculous the way it went up. I remember when nobody thought the stock market could be higher than 5,000 points or something like that.
5,000. I remember when I was in the World Football League, and it was 1975. The stock market was threatening to go over 1,000.
Everybody said it can't go any higher.
Everybody said, "It's got to be crazy. Got to be. How's the
well.
stock market going to go over 1,000? Now it's at 34,000, 35,000, somewhere in there.
And real estate, of course. If you bought real estate and never sold it, God knows what you'd be worth today. What about art? I don't know anything about art, but somebody told me that's the biggest markup in any kind of any kind of.
As big as a racket is what it is.
But that's all based on what? Based on what somebody thinks it's worth, right? I mean, that's pretty much what.
I don't know about art either.
I don't know anything about it, but I heard it was over the last 30 years the most remarkable thing you could invest in. It would be art.
I'll tell you another thing I don't understand. NFTs. You don't even know what that
I
are.
don't even know what it is.
Can you explain to me what an NFT is? Non-fungible tokens?
Yes, it's basically the digital form of art. So sort of like when you go on the internet and you look at pictures
Yeah.
on the internet, those pictures can now have value.
Okay, so
So
let's
okay, example would be the logo.
okay.
Okay, so I made that logo, right? So that logo could be registered as an NFT. And so going forward, anytime this logo is used on the internet anywhere, it is registered in a particular area. And anytime it gets used, I get paid for it. So that's essentially what an NFT is. So going forward, all assets can be filed digitally, and you can have ownership of those digital assets and get
Okay,
paid
so
for it.
Babe Ruth hitting his 60th home run
Picture.
picture,
Mhm.
and it's signed by Babe Ruth.
Mhm.
If and somebody says I want to sell it as an NFT, and a guy buys it for $150,000, does that mean that that guy is the only guy that can have that NFT?
It depends. It depends on if there's only one copy of it.
Yeah.
So if there's only one copy, yes.
So that's like a copyright? Is that what you're talking about?
Essentially,
Sort
yeah.
of like a
But
copyright?
it's like see with the new digital world, there's something called a what is it called? It's like a register. It's a blockchain, and in the blockchain, everything that gets submitted in the blockchain is forever in that chain, and whatever transaction took place in the chain, and if it's attached to you, you always have ownership of that particular thing.
We lost Frank. He passed out there with the NFTs.
In some ways,
I just don't get it.
okay. So let
Let's
me
go back to
let
best
me,
anal.
No, let me.
Wake you up, Frank.
It's just too boring to me. As
Well-
well as you can explain it to me.
I probably haven't done a great
it's
job
too
of
boring.
explaining it.
Okay.
Let's talk about
Let's talk about the Yankees. Let's talk about the Dodgers. Let's talk about the Cardinals.
Actually, I have a question for you
yes,
guys.
sir.
What's something that you guys know now at your age now that you wish you knew 40 years ago? So let's say as soon as you enter
I
30.
know the answer. I wish I knew how easy it was to make money.
I'm still trying to figure that out.
Well, no.
Okay.
You knew
okay.
how easy it was to make money. You didn't know how easy it was to keep money.
That's true. But if I was to say anything, I would say buy Apple. 40 years ago, buy Apple. That's what I would say.
Yeah, but
Okay, but he's talking about something different.
yeah, I'm talking about something different. I mean,
Do explain.
it's because of my upbringing.
Mm-hmm.
I was afraid to ask for money.
Okay.
So now I know that in order to get money, you have to be willing to ask for money. That's how all these agents are making money, because they continuously ask for more money for their clients.
That's sage advice. Know your worth.
Well, no.
Know what somebody's willing to pay you,
Yes.
whether you're worth it or not.
Know what somebody's willing to pay you.
That's the bigger thing. Know
That's
what someone's
sage
Know what
advice.
somebody's willing to
That's
pay you.
pretty sage advice.
Because for years, when I started in show business, I was making like $1,100 a week for 40 weeks. And I said that we had a producer on the show who was making $7,500 a week. And I said, boy, if I could ever make $7,500 a week, I'd be in clover.
Without a doubt.
Well, those are show weeks, so we do 22 weeks a year. Later on, I turned down more than 3 times that. I said, how the fuck did somebody, I would tell my agent, how the fuck does somebody expect me to work for that? So
Everything's relative.
everything's relative. You have to know what you're worth. I mean, I talked about my friend Dominic Bruno.
Again, not what you're worth, but
Right.
what somebody's willing to pay.
I talked about my friend Dominic Bruno in If These Lips Could Talk. And I said I was a little down on myself at one point in my career. And he said, why? I said, because, I feel like I'm stealing the studio's money. He said, pal, at this point in your life, you're getting paid for what you know, not for how hard you work. And you can save the studio, no matter how much money you're making, You can save the studio that in one afternoon, and that put everything in perspective to me. So you have to know how much people are willing to pay.
Big difference than what you're worth.
And in negotiations, you never. They said, "How much do you want?" And I said, "How much do you have?" You never offer first. You never give a figure first in any negotiation. And
chances are you'll undermine yourself, wouldn't you?
Yep. And I forgot my train of thought because
he interrupted you. God damn it!
No. I think you interrupted me.
Yeah, fuck you, Derek. But yeah, so you have to know what somebody's willing to pay you. And I often said that when I was a fireman. It used to crack me up. Firemen would go to negotiation with lawyers for the city. And I'd say, this guy's a fireman. This guy's got our country. Why don't we fucking hire a fucking negotiator to go to negotiate? Hire a lawyer. Get somebody. Why are we the head of the union? The guy's a fireman that we elected head of the union. He don't know nothing. Get somebody to negotiate for you. I mean, the city's got the top-notch negotiators.
Of course.
Yeah, so you hire a negotiator. I mean, none of these guys would be getting the ball players or anybody else. Entertainers would be getting what they're worth if it wasn't for their agent. Because the agent gets a percentage of what you earn, right? So it behooves him to get you as much as he can.
Right.
Yeah, it makes sense. I never had an agent, Frank. I need an agent.
Too late.
It's not too late, Billy.
Too late.
I know what you guys are willing to pay me.
Mom's Mabley had an agent at your age. That's the only comparable person I can think of.
She had better lips than me, Frank. She had big lips, Mom's Mabley. She was the real deal. She was a funny girl.
She was the real deal.
Uh-huh.
She was the real deal.
But yeah, things are just, look, I guess I've heard so many people say that this generation, it's going to be the end of civilization. They've been saying that shit since 2000 BC, you know? This generation's the end of it all. I don't know if it's for better or for worse. I know these kids today, they might not even know who fought in the Civil War, but they can find the Battle of Gettysburg with their thumbs faster than you can. And they know more in 10 minutes about Gettysburg than you know from a lifetime. So is that better or worse?
If they
that
want
good or bad?
If they're motivated.
Well, you know, is it better or worse to be able in that situation? You don't know, just know you can find. I don't know.
Yeah, well, our access to information is greater than it's ever been. I mean, when's the last time you've been to a library?
Oh, yeah. Can't even think of
it. I mean, I want to say, when's the first time I've been to a library? Because, I mean, after high school, I didn't go to the library in college. I didn't do anything in college, really.
When I was in grammar school, it was almost like it was a thing to do on a Saturday. You know, if I wasn't playing ball, if it was kind of snowy or something, we'd go to the library and hang out. You know, I mean, that was a thing. Speaking of which, I asked Derek before the show, can you think of any book that really influenced your life? That book that you said that really made a difference in your life? Any book that you read when you were a kid or any other time?
No, I really don't.
Yeah, I was talking about Norman Vincent Peale's, you know, The Power of Positive Thinking. I read that when I was a kid. It sort of influenced me, you know, positive.
How
thinking.
so?
It just made me realize that perspective, you know, and I don't know anything about physics or chemistry. It's like different. But I know that energy is energy, and if you put out positive energy, chances are you're going to get positive energy back. You know what? So that's just a fact of nature. I think even Einstein said that. Like,
but isn't that the same way of saying if you smile at somebody, they're liable to smile back? And all this positive energy bullshit.
Yeah, but yeah, you smile at somebody, chances are they're going to smile back. If I walk up to somebody like this.
Yeah, you give them a faccia bruta, you're gonna get a faccia bruta back.
Hey, faccia bruta, hey. You give one of these, he's gonna give you one of these. You give one of these, he's gonna give you one of these.
That's what I mean. We make life so hard. Positive energy. Well, you know, I agree. Smile at somebody, they're liable to smile back at you.
And think positively, and positive things are gonna happen to you. I believe that.
That's great.
If you walk around like a prick, like you think everything's going to be, why is it ever happening to me? Why do I always got to be the last guy served? Why do I have to be the last guy in the line? Well, that's fucking late.
You bring it on yourself.
Yeah, without a doubt. No matter what happens, you're not going to be happy.
But you mean that's a matter of bringing it on yourself.
Yes.
You don't absorb the waves, positive energy.
And when you're negative, you could be a guy who gets a birdie and a blowjob on the same hole on a golf course, and you're going to walk off like this. I could have got 2 blowjobs. You know, like you can't make somebody happy.
By the way,
What?
That has never happened to me.
A birdie and a blowjob on the same hole?
I have never gotten a birdie on a hole in my life.
Very good. Yeah. So I mean, I don't know. I think Catcher in the Rye kind of influenced me when I was a kid. I thought that was a terrific book. I don't know why all these mass murderers are walking around with it in their back pocket.
Yeah, but I mean that's a case. Holden Caulfield. He was a fuck up. Okay, he didn't affect my life.
No, but it made me fall in love with reading a lot. You know, I liked the book. It was like I identified with it.
How much good did it do J.D. Salinger?
He's a psychopath, J.D. Salinger. Pretty much bona fide. You know, he wrote that book during the invasion of Normandy. Not during the invasion itself.
I heard
but
that
after he landed,
scribbling on pad.
Yeah. I mean,
I met his son once.
Did you?
Yeah, because he was good friends with Jeff McCracken, who was a previous guest of ours, and they were working on a project together, a baseball project together. And JD's son was Jeff's partner.
Wow. You know, he had if I got this right, I'm pretty sure I do. When Salinger was overseas, and of course he was 18, 19 during the invasion of Normandy. And he got a Dear John letter, you know, from his high school sweetheart. And, you know, he had expectations of coming back after the war and marrying and everything. Her name was Una O'Connor.
I know who it is.
Yeah.
I know where this is going.
Yeah. And she told him that it was over because she had met a guy that she was going to marry. And it turned out the guy was 50 years older than J.D. Salinger. And he also turned out he was the most famous man in the world at the time, Charlie Chaplin. Yeah. And he got that in the mail. Imagine. And I wonder if that had something to do with Holden Caulfield's disillusionment.
I just think that people are good at being famous and people are good at being celebrities. J.D. Salinger didn't want to be a celebrity, so he withdrew from fame. It's just...
a ton of unpublished work, from what I understand. He wrote a whole lot of shit that was unpublished. I never got Franny and Zooey or any of the other stuff he wrote. I never thought he was that great a writer outside of Catcher in the Rye. But yeah, but it made me fall in love more with reading. I think so. It did change my life to an effect. You know, whether for better or for worse. I would think if you read more, it's better. You know, but
no, that's I think you should stand on that. Like, don't let him talk you out of your.
I'm not trying to talk about anything.
Your turns in life, things that were.
I don't think I'm trying to talk you out of.
No, but he
don't try to talk him into anything.
But you could think of a book that.
But no, but I
asked Eric that question.
Yeah,
and he came up with. Matter of fact, I wrote it down. The Eightfold Path to Enlightenment.
Yeah, but that's him. What else would you expect?
That's him.
What else would you expect?
He's the best. You don't got the kicker yet.
The Eightfold Best to Enlightenment.
No, but wait a second.
Most enlightened man I know.
You ain't got the
He's
kicker
still
yet.
working in a garage with Billy O'Connor and Frank Pace. So
that's what enlightenment is.
Where do you get the kicker? What was the name of the guy who wrote the Eightfold Path to Enlightenment? Just tell me his name again.
Lama Sura Das.
Lama Sura Das. No.
Perfect.
Here's the kicker. The guy was a Jew. Lama Sura Das. But he was a Jew that changed his name to Lama Sura Das.
Of course.
So he had the path to enlightenment, but he couldn't even bear the fact that he was Jewish. I don't know. So
perfect. That's Derek in a nutshell. Kama Sutra. Kama Sutra. What his name is.
Kama Sutra. How many positions is the missionary? 101. That makes 101. Oh
God.
Anyway.
Yeah. By the way, that's a good note to get out on. I think.
All right. 101. That's a good kicker.
171.
101. Not Dalmatians, no, we're not talking about. We're talking about position.
That's my boy, Billy. Your mind is always in the gutter.
True enough, Frankie boy. My mind might be in the gutter, but my eyes are always looking at the stars, pal. Always looking at the stars.
Good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody, and thanks for looking in.
See you next week.
Next week's guest, Pulitzer Prize winning photographer John Philo.